Hello, this is Old Man Poole. I managed to get right in on our next Legacy Cube draft, so excited for that. Opening up with a couple of interesting choices. We have a couple of pretty good green ramp creatures. We have Languish, which is fine. We have one of the better Gideons. Creating 2/2 Knights over and over again tends to get the job done. You can also have him kill opposing Planeswalkers. He might just be the pick here. Supreme Verdict, I think, is fine. I think it's probably honestly between the Gideon and the Languish, unless we're going to try and do something for green ramp. I think I'll start with Gideon here. I don't think that's a terrible first pick. Alright, next up. We have Unexpectedly Absent and Wall of Omens in white, which are kind of okay. I think they're both playable, but neither of them are real crazy exciting. Pyroclasm, which is a fine kind of mini Wrath of God. We have a Disc, which is a real big Wrath of God. It does miss Planeswalkers, which is noteworthy. Yeah, Anger of the Gods. I guess we have all sorts of levels of board wipes here. I think the most powerful cards in the pack, I do like Careful Consideration a lot. Seagate Oracle's fine. Maybe we should take the Disc here. Kind of go into a more controlling archetype with a fair number of Planeswalkers. I think the Disc fits fairly well into that. Although, Careful Consideration is worth considering too. Disc can come around late. I think we're going to pick that up here, though. I think that's better with Gideon than anything else we've got there. Alright. We have Gristlebrand, which is one of the better Reanimator targets if we wanted to move into that. We have Parallax Wave, which is interesting. Kind of a good defensive card. Also, triggers enter the battlefield effects for you if that's what you're trying to do. You can take Recruiter of the Guard. Do like the Hex Mage, just kills Planeswalkers. Throw of Temptation is pretty powerful. You just get a creature when you play it. We can maybe start with that. Don't think there's an obvious pick here. Maybe the Gristlebrand? I mean, we did see an Exhume last pack. Maybe that comes around. We're going to take this. Well, I don't know. Gristlebrand's one of the best Reanimator targets. So maybe that's what we should try for. Sure, I'm feeling spicy. Let's see if we can make Gristlebrand work here. This is going to either be the best card in our deck or just absolutely unplayable. We'll see, I guess, which one ends up being. Like Quarantine Field, really like Sword of Fire and Ice, although you do need something to carry it. Gideon does make Knights. I have a handful of lands, although I'm not really sure what colors are going to be yet, so those are a little less enticing. Muldrifter and Garruk. Don't think we're on the mono black path. Maybe we take Quarantine Field here? It's a pretty powerful effect. Just wiping out a handful of permanents for 6 mana, or if you go up to 8, it's like crazy good. Kind of a nombo with the Disc, admittedly. Take the Sword, Fire, and Ice. I think this is probably the best sword. I'm going to take the Quarantine Field, though, given what we're kind of starting out with. Okay. Do have the Dread Return here. So you have to kind of decide here, because I think if we end up going just into our kind of controlling Planeswalker deck, the Ajani Vengeance is going to be better. I think if we want to try for the Reanimator, the Dread Return is better. This is really good if you can self-mill, but you also kind of need some creatures. This is one of the worst Reanimator spells, probably. So maybe that's just not that exciting to push for. So I guess maybe we'll take the Ajani Vengeance. This is a pretty good card. Got kind of a tapper effect for its +1, and just Lightning Helix for its -2. Johnny seems pretty sweet. Okay, what do we got here? We have Explorer, which is one of the few kind of ramp cards in the set. It is green, if we're not really going on to. Nothing white that's immediately exciting. Also, nothing for the Reanimator deck here. Take Abrupt Decay, which is pretty powerful. You can take like Stormbreath Dragon. not that exciting. It is red is the main reason I was looking at it there. Maybe like Strass Dancer is the most exciting card we've got here. Don't really like just taking a relic. Yeah, nothing seems great here, but I think a lot of these cards we would play if they end up being in our colors. We'll take the Strass Dancer. Okay. Here we have... Don't think we're really going hard on Chandra here. I do like Repeal a fair amount for playing blue. Maybe Repeal is just our effect to go with. Grim Lava Lancer's not going to be in this deck. These Wisdom's good, but not really our colors. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take Repeal here. It's a pretty reasonable tempo card. Once in a while you take out a token or something too. Yeah, Repeal seems fine. Okay, we have City of Brass, which is worth considering. We also have Wrath of God and Forbid. So that Pestermite, if we wanted to go deep on potential Kiki-Jikis or shenanigans. I think I probably like the Wrath more than anything else here. Pestermite I don't think is going to make the deck unless we end up getting a Kiki-Jiki effect. And I feel like people are pretty quick to pick those up just because they're exciting. Maybe the Forbid is better, but I'm going to take the Wrath of God here, I think. No, there's a Supreme Verdict, so maybe we should have taken the Forbid. Take Mutavault here, which is fine. I'm not wild about a second Wrath. Not super wild about Fury. On the other hand, I feel like our mana ends up being kind of questionable a lot of times. Maybe Mutavault's worse. I think we'll take the Supreme Verdict. I guess we'd probably play that over Wrath of God if we're playing blue, but probably gonna play one. Okay. Careful Consideration is still a great card, so is Wall of Omens. Got a little bit of a pick between the two. Careful Consideration does more. Wall of Omens is much, much better for getting beat down, though, right now. That kind of lets us stall until we hit one of our board wipes and start getting Planeswalkers out. I think we have enough advantage right now in the late game that maybe the Wall of Omens is just better than Careful. But I think that's a close pick. Okay, we have Lightning Helix here, which is quite good. Incendiary Flow, which is just kind of a worse Lightning Helix. Don't think I'm going to take Parallax Wave. Remove Soul, which is kind of alright. I think I'm going to take the Helix here. We have Creeping Tar Pit or Breeding Pool, which are not necessarily our colors for either. Or we have Pillar of Flame or Siege Commander. I guess maybe we take the Siege Commander. Maybe that ends up making the deck in some capacity. It is a lot of tokens, and you can do some reasonable work with it. Reflecting Pool seems pretty okay. We have a couple of double colored cards. I don't think we're playing like Thassa here. I think Reflecting Pool will probably make the deck. Charlotte's Agent's good. I guess the Relic maybe against sideboard card against Reanimator. Kaiga. I don't think we want to play Kaiga. Okay. Another good sword. Still don't have tons of things that are going to be carrying it though. Hero's Downfall is good if we're end up being in black, but it seems unlikely at this point. Likewise, I like the Gatekeeper fine. We could take the Stoke the Flames, so that's not great if we don't have tons of stuff going on. You could just take the Colonnade. There's not really all that much here for us. We're not going to get the Heights, I don't think, to really turn on very often. So I guess should we maybe just start out with a Celestial Colonnade and make our mana just a little bit better? Okay. Here we have the Geist, which is pretty fine. We have Nissa, which I think is good, and Olive Nixilis, which I think are good. But we're not in either of their colors at this point, and they are double black. Ral Zarek is fine. Probably not much worse than a Johnny Vengeance, honestly. So maybe that should just be the pickup here. Geist is very good if we get swords and the like, but right now. I think maybe Planeswalkers just end up being a little bit better. We really would like to find a little bit more ramp to get out effects, but don't really want another Day of Judgment. I think just Ralzarek seems fine here. Okay, we have Sneak Attack. We could... I mean, Sneak Attacking like Crystal Brand's pretty fantastic. Although, we haven't had a ton for that yet. There's the Entomb. Oh! So tempting. So greedy. Should definitely not do that. You could do Martial Coup, which is, I think, a fine card. Also take Needle Spires, Pia and Kieran. Spark Mage. Handful of reasonable cards, but nothing that just like jumps off the page. I don't think it's a Sneak Attack deck, unfortunately. I would like to put one of those together in the format at some point. Do you like the Metamorph a lot? I feel like this comes back later than it should. Although I think a couple of these cards might come back. So maybe we just take that. I think that might be the most exciting card. Being able to clone whatever my opponent's doing for 3 is pretty good. Okay. So I do like Batterskull. I also like Sorin. Sorin's probably one of the worst Planeswalkers. His +1 doesn't do tons for us. I do like Ruler Rogue. Do like Deep Analysis. Revlork doesn't do too much for us right now. I think I'm just going to take the Batterskull. It's like another fine pickup. What do we have here? Not tons. Take the Fiend Hunter, which is fine but not crazy exciting. Or one of kind of a random number of lands. Sublime Archangel is not crazy. Dark Dwellers is pretty reasonable. Maybe that's better than Fiend Hunter. Probably is. Part of the Water Veil is too slow. We don't really have much that we're doing with Brawl right now. I guess we don't have tons that Dark Dwellers hits. Repeal it hits. Supreme Verdict, I guess. Lightning Helix. I think I still like that enough better than Fiend Hunter that I'm going to pick it up and maybe we'll see if we get a couple more targets for it. Okay. So I do like Sarkhan. I think he is pretty good. There's also the Looter Milkor, which I also think is a fine card. Kind of make sure that we hit our mana on our way up. I think Sarkhan's best. Hangerback Walker's also a possible pick, so Sacred Foundry. Sarkhan's pretty strong, though. Okay. Here we have a handful of good green cards. Probably want to take Merfolk Looter here over Into the Royal and Riftbolt. I think that's pretty easy. It gives us another thing to do early on, and the value can be pretty good, making sure we hit like our 4th land drop, and pretty good late game for getting rid of our lands as well. Ooh. Don't know. We haven't seen any, like, I don't think any mana rocks. I don't think we've passed any. So, Sphinx's Revelation seems not super exciting. It's great as the game goes along. I think I'm just going to take a Will of the Council here, though, and just use it as a pretty good removal spell. Legacy's Allure. It's kind of interesting. I don't think it's fantastic. I think I'm going to take Council's Judgment. Legacy's Allure is just a terrible late game draw. Might play Force Spike. It seems like it could be pretty okay in some matchups. Myoku just never seems all that exciting to me. It costs 5 and just returning lands doesn't do too much. Again, I don't think we're ever going to get the Windbrisk to really activate. Maybe we want Stoke over Force. Nah, I think we're just going to take Force Spike. Okay, I'm happy the Geist came back around. I think that's a pretty good pickup here. Another threat that can maybe start getting through. Okay, here we have a whole host of choices. Storm Chaser Mage is kind of especially in this deck. So I guess it's between these. Cunning Spark Mage can be pretty good. Key and Pura is fine. I just want Martial Coup. Pretty expensive. Oop. I always take a little bit too long there. I guess I took the Martial Coup. Okay. Wow, Tundra is really late coming around. I'm going to take that over a Whirler Rogue and a Rebel Arc and not be unhappy. Brawl maybe as a sideboard card against really aggressive matchups. I need to pick faster. Sacred Foundry, good pick. And Into the Royal. Actually, Into the Royal might very well get played, so not a bad thing to see very last. We have Gilded Lotus, which is ramp, but ramp after things have gone too late. I like Assemble the Legion fine, although it comes around most of the time. It might just be a Swords to Plowshares here, which is a pretty powerful effect. Like Vindicate, we're not splashing for it at this point, though, I don't think. Yeah, and like Remain's fine. Not crazy if you're not really beating down, I don't think. But Sword seems like a good pickup. We'll just go ahead and take the Swords here. Okay. So, still unfortunately, nothing that ramps us. Sylvan Library. Bunch of stuff that we would take if we were in green. I think that we're just going to take Elspeth here. It's kind of expensive, but it is pretty stellar if we manage to get there. And we're not taking over a ton of other stuff. Snapcaster's fine. How much does Snapcaster hit? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I don't think Snapcaster's really the pick. We just don't have enough things that it hits with. I think we'll take Elspeth here. Okay, there's a Bonfire, which I like. We could take a Glacial Fortress, which is fine, or a Sulphur Falls, which is fine. Although Preordain, I think, might just be the pickup over all of them. We still want things to do a little bit earlier. This helps set up our land drops, which I think is going to be very important because we didn't see any of the fixing. Bonfire is good, but I think Preordain's got to be the pick here. Okay. Like Maelstrom Pulse fine, probably not splashing for it. I think a Johnny is one of the worst planeswalkers, especially in this deck. Like Lightning Bolt fine, really like Cell's Conscripts, like Phantasmal Image. Probably take the Conscripts here. Image is a little bit better against very aggressive draws, but we actually have a decent amount of early plays, I think. So you can maybe be a little bit more greedy and play the Conscripts here. You get a Planeswalker here, and you can minus it to get some good effect. It could be a pretty big blowout. We'll go ahead and pick that up. Okay. Plateau? Don't have any fetch lands, unfortunately. You can also take Venser. Mirror Crusader doesn't seem like what we're trying to do. Neither does the Phoenix, the Avalanche Raiders. I think Seal of Fire is just kind of low power in general. So I think it's either the Plateau or the Venser. We could have actually had kind of an interesting deck with if we picked up the Swords and a couple of Infiltrator cards that we've seen, the Lunar Hill deck or whichever one it is, the unblockable one. Venser or Plateau? I think we just actually need better land mana at this point. We're maybe a little bit low on playables, but I have faith we'll pick up a couple. Yeah, there's a Volcanic Island. I think Jace is just going to be the pick here. He's pretty good and he's cheap, which is nice for us. Would play Magma Jet, probably would play Murder Redcap or Dungeon Geists. So we might get something else out of this pack as well. Okay. Take the Chandra here, which I am not in love with, but not opposed to. Don't really know for a fact or fiction. We don't have anything that's interacting with the graveyard, which makes it worse. I think we've got a couple of good Oblivion Stone targets anyway, and that kills off our Planeswalkers, which makes it worse. I think we're just going to take the Chandra. Okay. Take Spire Bluff Canal. We could take Terminus. Only hits creatures, which is probably good for us. Do Tangle Wire, which is just a very good kind of stalling card. It's pretty bad if my opponent gets some board presence, though. Karmic Guide doesn't do too much for us, I don't think. Need a quick pick here. I guess I think we take the Canal and just keep up trying to make our mana a little bit better. Tangle Wire was tempting. Okay, I think we'll take the Assembled Legion here and not look back. Oh wow, Snapcaster actually came around. Such a powerful card. I don't know if we have enough targets for it, but I guess even playing it later in game is pretty good if the targets are good. So maybe if we don't find something, we can hold on to it. And 2/1 Flash is not like absolutely terrible, worst case scenario. I think we'll pick that up. Take the Glacial Fortress here. Not going to play Secret of the Way, not going to play Might Veil Spectre. Will we play Flicker Wisp? Yeah, it's good against some opponents, I guess. Don't know if we have tons that really utilizes it well. Like it, I guess it triggers Zealous Conscripts again, but not the land step. Like, yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't do very much for us. So I guess that turns into a sideboard card. Retriggers Snapcaster, retriggers Wall. It's just not the most exciting. Take the Seal as a sideboard card as well. And do we want the Engineer Explosives actually? That might be better than a Magma Jet. We already have a couple of just straight kill spells. Although, Harbinger we're going to take here. This is another card that's not bad as a sideboard card. Playing it for 4 against an aggressive matchup can be pretty nice. Let's see. I think we actually might just want the Wrath of God over the Disc. Disc is a little bit slower. There's actually... I mean, I guess we have like Batter Skull. I guess that's the only thing it really heats. Oh, it's really bad with Quarantine Field. That's true. Not great with Engineer's Explosives. So yeah, I think Wrath of God's going to be better than the Disc for us, since we're mostly hoping to hit creatures. Let's see. So if we take our lands out, we're sitting at 27. Need to make a couple of cuts. I think that Martial Coup is probably not all that fantastic. Maybe the sideboard card, but even that's kind of slow. It's a lot better if you get some ramp to go along with it. Do like Quarantine Field, even if it's just at a cost for 4, it ends up doing some pretty reasonable work, I think. Repeal is good. Maybe don't need Engineered Explosives right now. That just kind of completely misses against some decks and has the potential to hit like our Looter or Jace even. So Explosive seems kind of unexciting. We would bring it in some matchups for sure though. Okay, a couple more. Do we want both Wrath effects? We might not. 2 Wraths is maybe too much pre-board. Although again, I think I'll bring in more against like heavy creature decks. Like the Stratus Dancer for sure. Like Snapcaster. Don't think we want to cut any of our creatures. I guess Metamorph. Maybe Metamorph isn't that great just in a vacuum. So maybe we'll put that on the temporary chopping block. Like all of these. Yeah, okay, maybe Metamorph. Although we'll keep that in mind again as a sideboard. So we have a fair number of playables and more things that we can push in if we want. Don't think the Siege Gang Commander is really all that great for us. Not gonna play the Dark Dwellers, I don't think. How many instant sorcerers do we have with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not tons. Snapcaster gives really good value if we hit one of them, but it's pretty bad if we don't. I think I'm still okay keeping it. The reason I like it better than Dark Dwellers is just because it's so much cheaper. The Dark Dwellers comes out a lot later in the game, even though it's likely to have found a source by then. Also doesn't have flash, so we can't get somebody with like a lightning helix or Into the Royal Surprise. Okay, I think this is reasonable start. Do we want Reflecting Pool in this deck? Have a couple of double red, double white. Yeah, I think we do. We'll take the Reflecting Pool. I think it's going to be more helpful to our mana more often than it will be painful. We have 1, 2, 3 white source. No, a couple more. 5 white sources with that. Maybe I'll make a notepad. 5 white. 4 blue. Not counting the Reflecting Pool since it doesn't do anything for us if we don't have at least one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and how many red? 3 red, looks like. And we got 10 mana that we can throw around. We want to play our Strass Dancer, our Looter, our Wall early. I guess we want to. I guess Strass Dancer the earliest it would be needing to Megamorph is probably turn 4. We didn't, like I said, get any mana rocks, which I think is the difference between this deck being kind of and quite good. But can't do anything about that now. Like I said, I don't think we passed any, so sometimes someone upstream for us is just taking them aggressively too. I think I like being heavier on blue and kind of maybe even on white and red. We'd want to hit double on both of those, but I think we need blue earlier for the Preordained, the Jace, the Looter. So Geo recommends something like that. I don't think we need as many white as that. I think we want a couple more blue. That would give us 6 red sources, 7 white sources, 9 blue sources. Maybe we cut 1 blue and add a red just for symmetry's sake. Give us 7, 7, 8. I think we might want another blue than that. I think 9's enough though. So would we rather have 1 less mountain or 1 less plains? I guess maybe 1 less mountain. Having like the swords, the Geist, and the wall earlier good. So maybe we'll cut 1 more mountain. Go up to 9 blue sources, 7 white sources, 6 red sources. It seems alright. Maybe a little bit sketchy. It would be our Ben would be a lot better if we'd gotten some fetches too, but just because of their versatility. But I think the deck turned out alright. Not crazy exciting, but not terrible. I'm gonna go ahead and save it, and we're gonna go into match 1.